The lawyer acting for the parents who are demanding only blood from unvaccinated donors be used for their baby's life-saving surgery says the couple are being unfairly treated. The case is going back to the High Court next Tuesday, with health authorities asking for the baby to be placed under the guardianship of the court. Now, the parents are convinced any blood from vaccinated donors is unsafe, but Immunisation Advisory Centre Medical Director and Vaccinologist Nikki Turner says that is not true.
So what we do have in blood products is our immune response, either to COVID disease or to a vaccine. And the immune response is what you will see in blood. And that's the same to any virus we're exposed to, COVID or any other virus. So from a science point of view, there are no concerns here.
The lawyer acting for the family, Sue Gray, is with us now. Kia ora, good morning.
Kia ora, good morning, Corin.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me on.
You're welcome. Now, firstly, are you seeking a one-off exemption here for this case, or some sort of a change to the law, which, as my understanding, would be needed for this to actually happen?
Neither of those things. This is an application by the Health New Zealand, the new entity that runs all of the hospitals in New Zealand. And from what I can understand, it's unprecedented for what's called medical guardianship.
You misinterpreted my question. The client's request here to have blood that is unvaccinated, are you seeking this as a one-off case where you've got some donors on your own, or are you trying to have effectively what would be a law change, from my understanding?
It doesn't need a law change, but for these clients, the focus for their baby, and that's that's who I'm appearing for, the best for their baby.
So you're not trying to get some blanket change here, you just want them for this case. And you have...
Yes, it doesn't need a law change, it just needs the New Zealand Blood Bank can already do direct donor blood, and we've got correspondence from them saying that they can do direct donor blood in appropriate cases. The question is whether this is an appropriate case for what's called direct donor blood.
And the parents... Are they comfortable, they trust the doctors and the surgeons to carry out this operation?
Yes, they do. Look, the baby was born with a congenital heart defect and it's already had one operation. They just want the best care for their child.
Okay, so they trust the medical science behind those surgeons carrying out that operation, yet they don't trust those same doctors who do trust the blood services' blood. Where is the logic in that?
Oh, there's a huge amount of logic. There's a lot of evidence, including from MedSafe, the New Zealand government regulator, about the harm or potential harm from the Pfizer vaccine. And we had a child...
No. I want an answer to the question that I asked, which so you trust the doctors, the medical science behind the operation. Those same doctors are not willing to cede to your request. They trust the blood from the blood service. They accept the truth, which is there's no risk here. Yet you're not willing to trust them.
That is not the truth. The truth is there's a huge amount of international research showing that there are factors in blood that can cause inflammation.
I'm sorry, Sue, but that is not the case. If we look at the Federal Drug Administration, the Canadian Blood Services Board, these have all found there is no issue here. We've got New Zealand's MedSafe. We've got the Blood Service, the Immunisation Centre. The overwhelming scientific evidence is clear. I don't want to have a discussion about the research because you and I are lay people. We trust the experts.
The reason we're in court is to have this discussion that needs to be had that nobody's been having. And I can give you a very simple reason why we need to have this discussion. Rory Meehan died from myocarditis following the vaccine. That's the report of the coroner.
Again, look, I'm a layperson like you are a layperson. We work in a system in a country that trusts experts. And I want to come back to the point. You trust the experts and the doctors to perform the operation, yet you don't trust those same doctors who are 100% confident in the blood.
They're not 100% confident. What they're saying is there's been no testing done on the blood, so they have no information to show any harm from the blood, but they haven't done any testing, and they have no testing to assess what factors are in the blood, if there's any spike protein in vaccinated blood.
I'm just sorry, but the overwhelming medical advice and experts in this country that we live in is very clear. that there isn't a risk. And I wonder, are you
But
concerned that this might...
You're not listening to what you asked me a question. You're not listening to my answer. I had a meeting with them yesterday. They confirmed at the meeting they have no way of measuring the blood to see what is in it. And we know that the factors from the vaccine, according to MedSafe's own website, can cause harm. It can cause inflammation, myocarditis. It can cause thrombosis. It can cause anaphylaxis. It can cause all sorts of problems.
Are you applying the same rigour to the other drugs that will be involved in this operation, the anaesthetic drugs, the other procedures?
This question is not about those. This question is about an identified...
But it is about that. It is about our faith in medical science, scientific method, research and institutions. I mean, 11 billion doses of this vaccine have been administered globally.
It's not scientific method to give a vaccine, effectively and by an indirect route, give a vaccine that's not approved for people under 5 to a very vulnerable baby who's got contraindications for that vaccine. That is not scientific method.
None of this is passed on in the blood. But again, I want to come back to the point. You and I are lay people here. We live in a system that trusts experts.
I have got a science background. I've worked in public health, and I've got contact. I'm in direct contact. I've been researching this and related issues for the last 2 years. I've got a huge amount of data.
That is, with the greatest respect, I'm sure you're an expert in the law, and as a lawyer, and I'm not an expert in the law, but we are lay people when we put our faith in medical professionals, and that is what we do. I want to come back to the other issue. Another issue here.
That is why people die. That is why, when you've got a very unique condition, it's important to do additional research because the doctors are busy. They know what's generally
Come on, I'm sorry. I'm not. No, we're not going to have that discussion. I want to come back to the other issue, which is the danger around a precedent here. Are you concerned that this is the danger here, and even having this interview, that there may now be somebody who goes to A&E and demands to have blood that is unvaccinated and puts their life at risk? I mean, this is crazy.
There's already been a number of people asking for unvaccinated blood. A lot of people have lost their job. They've lost their careers because they don't trust vaccinated blood and they don't trust the vaccine. So that's already happening. This is making no difference. What this is doing is getting some conversation about these important issues that need to be discussed.
There is no conversation to be had when the medical experts and the medical professionals in this country, in just about every country in the world, when the WHO are adamant there is no risk here. I mean, 11 billion people have had the dose of vaccine in the world. 11 billion. Are they all wrong?
Thousands have died. In New Zealand, I've just got an OAR. I think it's 47.
No, I'm sorry.
In New Zealand.
Thousands have died from COVID-19. I'm sorry. People have died from the virus, from COVID-19.
No. They've died from the vaccine.
That is not... There may well have been the
Information Act request that a lot of people in New Zealand have died after the vaccine, attributed to the vaccine from conditions that MedSafe recognise.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to entertain that argument because that is not correct.
Well, this is really difficult to have the conversation when you won't listen and when you won't look at the evidence. Because
the reason I'm sorry for interrupting, and you may think I'm being rude, but the reason I'm doing that is because, again, I trust the medical science, the people who will be performing that surgery.
We trust them as surgeons, but they're not experts on the Pfizer vaccine and the risks in blood. And I can tell you that for sure because there's a lot of research that we've got from around the world that these doctors were not even aware of until we started providing it to them.
Sue Gray, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on. I do appreciate that. I'm sure people will have views on that interview. That is the lawyer acting for the family, Sue Gray.